Namaskar. How does Jyotish work? So, in one line, if I were to answer, it is through karma. Hmm. What is Jyotish really? I mean, let's first place it in the broader scheme of things. In our tradition, we have the four Vedas, which are considered the supreme literature. Um, they are supposed to be apaurushaya, that is, no one has really created them. It is Veda means something which has to be known and which is the truth. Okay. Now, to understand the Vedas in practical life, we have certain what you call limbs or angas of Veda, which is helping us to understand and interpret what is written over there. Okay, and they are called the Veda angas, literally limbs of Vedas, and there are six of them. Okay, you have Jyotish, you have Vyakarana, Shiksha, Nirukta, Chandas, and Kalpa. Um, Now, each of them have a specific role to play in understanding. Okay, Shiksha helps you understand how to pronounce the language. Um, Vyakarana helps you to understand the structure of the language, the grammar. Nirukta helps you understand, go deeper into the meanings of the words, how the words are formed, basically what we call as etymology. Chandas helps you to recite it in a certain intonation, a certain meter, a certain rhythm, and that creates certain thinking and insights in our mind. And you have Jyotisha, which I would say is all in all. We say Jyotish is about the right time. Yeah, right time is one aspect of it, uh, but it's not just time alone, it is Desha Kala Patra, so which is the right place as well. Understanding all the nimittas, everything, all the omens, as well as what we understand from a horoscope, um, all of those aspects, and Patra, who is the right person, and that's why we have Jataka, where we study the horoscope of an individual. You have also, I must say, Kalpa, which is about the performance of the rituals, okay, and getting results from them. You had all these various yajnas which were conducted, or pujas or havans or whatever it is. It is how to conduct them and get the results, okay, which is done by the specifically the karma kanda. Now, when we talk about, I said Jyotish, it's all about karma, right? What exactly is karma? That becomes a question. How do we define it? So, we believe that there is a cycle of birth and rebirth, and this essentially happens due to our karma, or our accumulation of karmas, which is like a bank of karma which is there. Karma is basically an action and reaction, cause and effect. Okay, so as long as we identify with this samsara, with this body, which, if we look at various darshanas, like Vedanta or Samkhya, etc., uh, this is considered to be the Prakriti, the Maya. It's not exactly the real nature of what we are, but we identify it with it because we are born in a body, we are trapped inside this body, and there's a mind. Basically, it's the mind which is really trapping what is known as the soul or the Atma. And because of this trapment, we are into this cause and effect cycle. Okay, and this cause and effect cycle is nothing but karma, which gets reflected in birth and rebirth cycle. Okay, so Jyotish is basically a study of the karma of everything, of not just individual. It can be karma of a country, it can be karma of an organization. Anything which is getting created will have a karma. Karmas of all the other living beings also. And as I said, also inanimate things like a country or an organization, or an event. Like for example, some people, presidents get sworn in. There's an oath taking ceremony. So there's a muhurta basis there, and you study that. So, and that also shows certain karmas. So, but ultimately the karmas are related to the individual, because the soul, individual soul has that karma, and that gets reflected even in the intimate things. So what happens is we have an entire bank balance of these karmas to go through, basically, which means we have to experience these karmas. See, you may have done something wrong in your past life. Now you are born as so that you will learn the right lesson. For example, like when we were in school and we would do some nuisance or some prank, or we would not do what we were supposed to do. Let's say we didn't do our homework, then we were given a punishment. I mean, depends on what kind of punishment we get. Okay, it can be just standing outside the room, outside the classroom, or it can be writing something 100 times, whatever. It depends on the teacher and everything. That's again karma. So what your karma is, accordingly you will get the punishment as well. So so that you learn the lesson and don't repeat it again. You know, okay, fine, I missed my homework, I should do my homework, right? That's a very simple analogy. You understand there are so many things our soul has to learn and experience. Okay, you have done that to that other person, you got to learn, okay, you should not be behaving like that. Okay, um, it's not just about criminals and who do massive crimes, that's a different thing altogether, right? But even day in day out, right, you know, you may shout at someone for no reason, okay, or even for some reason, right? But then we understand ahimsa paramo dharma, right? So so like that, these are lessons we got to learn, and for that we have to, that action that we have done results in the effect, that is a cause of this effect, right? And hence we do some we go through that experience so that we learn from it. But then some people feel like, you know, this seems to be like a bondage, can we ever get out of it? Okay, and that's the beauty of human birth. Of all the births, even they say devatas, they want to be born as human, because then they will be able to finish out their karmas, because even being in Swargaloka is not the end goal, because you can come down. You want to get out of this cycle altogether, so that there's no karma, nothing whatsoever, right? uh, how to get out of this, obviously there's a lot of literature on that. Gita gives so many various yogas. There is karma yoga, there's jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga, and so on and so forth. I will not get into that. But that is the basic thing behind what we've gone through. Now, when we talk of karmas, there are things like sanchita karma, prarabdha karma. You may have heard about it. What are these really? Now, the entire bank balance of a karma, okay, which is all over a lot of lifetime. Let's say I have lived 1,000 lifetimes. Okay, let's say I'm a very old soul. I'll have that much of karma. Now, in one lifetime, in one birth, it is not possible to resolve all of them. Maybe for a Mahatma it is possible, but for normal human beings it is not possible. So our soul, before it has taken this birth, uh, I mean, they are very serious, but like there's a decision made, either it decides or whatever. What is it that I am going to resolve in this particular birth, right? And that particular thing, what is resolved for this particular birth, is known as prarabdha. So there is sanchita, which is the entire bank balance, and what we take to experience in this particular birth, learn from it, and finish that off completely, that is called as prarabdha. What happens, however, is that when we take birth, um, things may not go as planned, right? Uh, because obviously, when you know, you may have shouted to someone in your past life, and hence you have to, let's say, experience humiliation in this lifetime, but then you hit back at it. You you are not able to bear it and you hit back. Now that creates further karma, right? uh, or you may also do some good karmas. You know, you felt sympathy for someone, and you felt, you know, I should give something to them. But for us ordinary people, whenever we give also, we have some bit of I sense that I am giving. right? Even if it's we may not tell anyone, no one has witnessed and all that, even then there is some I feeling, I gave this is my money I'm giving. Whenever that some bit of I feeling is there, that causes karma. In this case, it will cause a good karma, meaning in future you will get something good in return, maybe in this lifetime or in future lifetime, right? That's why Bhagwan says in the Gita that do your karma without expecting anything. That expectation is within your heart, and when he means by expectation, he means that it's like I have not done something. Whatever it is given by God, and I'm doing it. It's not like I have donated my property. It is God given property. I've used it and now I'm giving it. It's not like when I'm dying, I'm going to take it back with me, right? So when we don't even take our body, how can we take any of our possessions? So uh, this is the entire aspect about prarabdha, and what we do in this lifetime, which gets added to our balance and which will fructify in future, is known as the agama karma or kriyamana. Also, it is said. Now, karmas are also classified as drida or adrida karma. Drida means very fixed karma, meaning in the sense that you can't escape it. You've done something like you see. Some again going back to the school example, you did something naughty, but let's say teacher looks at you, you're a prankster, okay, fine, okay, she likes you, she says okay, fine, go away, no problem, and it was not something serious as such, and maybe it is also taken as a joke, fine, okay. So sometimes you get forgiven, right? But sometimes you're not forgiven easily, and that is very fixed karma, stubborn karma. It's like a stain on a cloth which is very stubborn, which is not very easy to remove. While there are some other stains which just put some stain remover, or even by just simple washing it just gets removed. Okay. So you have drida karma and you have adrida karma, and whatever I'm talking about, it's each and every aspect of this can be read from a chart. How many lifetimes of your karma have you decided to burn in this particular birth? That can be seen in the chart, right? um, what is your sanchita, what is your prarabdha, that can be seen in the chart. What is the drida and adrida karmas that you have, that can be seen in the chart. What will be forgiven easily, what you have to go through. I mean, the drida and adrida has a bearing with regards to remedies particularly. See, when we do remedies, what really is really happening, if people think that remedy is something like, you go to a shop and you get something. It's not, and it will immediately work. Okay, you take a allopathic medicine and immediately you feel, say you had a headache and the headache is gone. No, it's not like that. Okay. um, it entirely depends upon what kind of karma it is, and also it depends upon the timing. So you know we don't get remedies just like that. We get remedies at a certain time, and then they may work at a certain time and so on. So there are doshas in the chart, some things like very severe things like curses, which is called shapa and all, which may not be removed even in this lifetime. Okay. So all these can be read in the chart. Drida and adrida karmas also can be read in the chart. And there's something called drida adrida, which is a mixed thing, so it's like a gradation. That's all. So Jyotish is basically through the horoscope, we are reading the karma of the individual, and when I always put a prashna for every reading. The reason is, you see, as I said, you know, it's not like you're born with a certain thing and you have to, like, life is a bondage. This human birth is a birth where you can actually resolve these things. By experience these things, these karmas are gone and or reduced considerably. Their effect is reduced, and you're able to move on. Okay, that is possible only in this human birth. Now, in this context, what do remedies do? So let's say those karmas which I said are adrida karmas, which are easy to remove. then definitely they can be removed by a remedy, in the sense that you may not, let's say your horoscope shows that there's a potential of a bad relationship that you may face in a certain sphere, let's say in work, or let's say in terms of relationship, love relationship, or anything else. Okay. uh, or you may face some bad circumstances and all that. This can avoid it. While if it is very serious karma, which is drida, then it may lessen the impact of it. Okay. My father, when I was young, I still remember he gave a very beautiful example that there were two men who would go to a Shiva temple daily at the same time. Okay. One was a very scholarly Pandit, very, very devout. He would spend hours every day doing puja and everything like that. Okay, so he's very devout to Shiva from the heart. Okay, while another guy is a thief. Okay, so both of them in the morning they would go to the temple. The priest would pray to Lord Shiva, and and all that with all his heart. And after that, he would go to home and maybe do some more pujas. Thief will come. He will also pray to Shiva. God, may I get good money today. I'm able to steal a lot of money and all that, and protect me or whatever. And after praying, he would also go. And the Pandit knows that this guy is a thief. Okay. Um One day they were both coming out of the temple at the same time, and this Pandit, he walked a little bit, and a very sharp nail someone had thrown, or whatever it was there on the ground, that injured his toe. Okay, his right toe, the big toe, it was injured, and a lot of blood was coming out of that, and they removed that nail, and blood was coming out. um, while just exactly at the same time, the thief, he stumbled over some rock or something on the ground, and then he found it was a bag of gold coins or something. So the priest saw this, and he was like very angry and incensed with Lord Shiva. Every day I come to you, and I pray. I, with all my heart out. I have not really asked for anything, but is this the way to reward me? And look at this guy. He is a thief, and he's getting a bag of gold coins out of of all the things. So Lord Shiva comes in front of this Pandit, not to the thief, and he says, uh, you know, at this point of time, as per your past karmas, you should have been murdered brutally. Someone should have, stabbed you with a sword, and killed you. And this guy should have become a king at this moment. Okay, but such is your karma in this lifetime, that look at what he has got, just a bag of gold coins instead of a kingdom or a palace, and you have just got a injury on your toe and not getting killed. Very beautiful example, and it's still, many years back, I listened from my father, and I still remember it. um, Very beautifully it explains the fact of what we can do. Maybe it's exaggerated, right? uh, but what a very pious life can do in this lifetime. Well, pious need not necessarily mean only if you're doing puja for yourself and then you're treating other people as, as nobodies. Obviously it means that ultimately the thing is, the goal is that we realize that we are all one and the same, right? And we have that kind of compassion that goes out to everyone. It's very easy to say, but I mean, I am way far than that. So I'm sure, most of us are like that. So this lifetime remedies can impact, and they can lessen the intensity of it, and what worse can happen can be reduced. And that is where the reason is, there's no reason that someone should go through all those bad things, and experience them. If it can be lessened, it should be lessened. It's like, why do you go to a doctor? Someone will say, I mean, would you say that, okay, I have cancer, I will, if I have cancer, I will go through it, and I'll not go to doctor, I'll not take any treatment whatsoever? I mean, you can do that. You're going to hasten your death, and you're going to suffer greatly. If there is a chance, if it's in the first stage or something, it can be treated, and your life can last for another 20-25 years, and let's say you can take care of your family, you're able to resolve much more karmas. Why not? Okay, that's the same logic which is to be applied in this instance, because I've seen a lot of people, very educated, learned people, when I mean educated, learned, meaning who know of our shastras, who know Sanskrit, who have gone, who study the scriptures, the Upanishads, Vedas, Puranas, Mahabharata, Itihas, everything. Okay, and they say we don't believe in astrology, we don't believe in Jyotish, which I really find funny, because Jyotish is part of the Veda. It's a Vedanga, and it is, if it is there, it is there for some reason, right? I mean, our rishis were not these fools to have this kind of science for some. There is a reason for it. Okay, so just like there is Ayurveda, the medicinal profession, that it is there for some reason. Even though Ayurveda is classified as an Upaveda, right? It's classified as an Upaveda. It's not considered Vedanga. Vedanga is like part of the Vedas itself. Okay, but Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharveda, these are Upavedas, meaning adjunct Vedas, kind of thing. Okay, so if such a person is ready to go to a doctor to treat his ailment, okay, then he should not look down upon Jyotish. Is all my point. Okay, though each person is entitled to his opinion anyhow. So this is how things operate. I wanted to add something else, but I think that is for some other time. Okay, so yeah, but one thing I would like to add now. Okay, one very important thing I would just like to conclude with this is, no, this is not what I wanted to say earlier. So okay, you would say we have this grahas, okay, and in Jyotish we study horoscope, and we study the grahas and all that, basically the planets and their movements. So how is it really working, in the sense that you're saying, okay, Jyotish is having karma and all that, but how is it really? Where is this karma really happening? Now, uh, in the horoscope we have the rashis, or the signs, and we have the grahas. Okay, this is the fundamental of Jyotish. Okay, you would have a scheme, a sky, and in that you have these grahas. In fact, more deeper than that, in Brihad Parashara Varashastra, at the beginning itself, Maharishi Parashara says, in the Akasha are shining, there is a bimba, okay, of which some are fixed and some are moving. That is the main thing. If let's say tomorrow Earth is gone, and we are all transported to some other planet, or let's say there's some other planet altogether, will there be no Jyotish over there? I mean, what if they don't have these 9 planets? They have some other number of planets. Okay, how do we do Jyotish? I'm not sure whether there has to be 9 planets or not. I'm not that learned. But one thing is very clear from the reading of Parashara, that in the sky over there also, there will be some things which are fixed and some things which are moving. The ones which are fixed are the nakshatras, which are way, way distant in the sky. Right? We call them to be in the Swargaloka. And then there are those which are moving, which is basically the grahas, or the planets. They are moving. The word graha means grasping. What are they grasping? Interesting, you see, the word grasping in English is very similar to graha, and there's this gravitational force that's also about grasping, right? With that energy or the force to grasp something. So there's this similarity of that, because I think all are eventually from the same source, Indo-European source. So the graha is, what is it grasping? Is it is carrying your karmas in a way. Is it carrying your karmas? Honestly, I'm not so sure about it, but it is definitely showing your karmas. Maybe it is definitely doing, showing your karmas, and maybe it's also carrying your karma. It's not like it's there are some scientists who have said the gravitational pull of Jupiter on humans is much lesser, 0.001% of some other nearby object on you. Okay, but you're confusing that the gravitational force is the force through which karma is operating. No, I don't think anyone said it. The force is the karma force. Okay, it's not the gravitational force. How can we prove that through physics? Our physics is still not, it's still in the process of evolution. Okay, and we are making new discoveries. Maybe in future we will discover there are things like dark energy and dark matter we know nothing about. Okay, and dark energy and dark matter constitute 96% of this universe. It's not 96% of somewhere else in the universe. Even here, even where I am sitting, there's dark energy and dark matter, but which we cannot detect. That's why it's called dark. It may not be related to this, but what I'm trying to say is there is a lot in physics, and I'll maybe in future talk, because that's another thing which interests me a lot, and trying to correlate physics with this. But it is not, I don't think it is gravitational force is also an important force, but I don't think that is a force related to this thing. um, and here let me tell you, when I'm making these points, where after stopping with the drida karmas, remedies and all that, where I'm making these points, these are my own uh, learnings or thinkings or contemplations. You may take it with a pinch of salt. Okay. uh, the others are what I have learned from my guru, so I'm making my own thing over there. So what exactly, how is it showing? So the way, one analogy I would like to give you of how these grahas are showing our karma is, you have to, let's say like the speedometer on our vehicle. We are driving a motorbike and we see a speedometer. The speedometer is showing a speed. It's 40 kilometers or 50 kilometers or going up, down, etc. Is the speedometer creating the speed? Isn't, it's not, right? The speedometer is not creating the speed. The speed is happening because of the engine inside the vehicle, and how much you are accelerating or decelerating, etc. Because of that. Okay, you are doing some karma, and the engine is responding, and the speedometer is actually showing what is the result of it. So the grahas in the horoscope are definitely showing, but are they the engine behind it? In the sense, the analogy of what engine is over here, the karma is still what we have done in the past, but is it also the engine plus speedometer, or is it just the speedometer? Honestly, I don't know. I must be honest, I don't know. Maybe it is the both. Okay. um, and the grahas are, the karma is actually not in the grahas themselves. It is there in the grahas, but it's also there in the rashi. So when the graha is going over a rashi, then it is activating something, and then it's going on another rashi, it is activating something else. So there are different karmas which are getting activated depending on the graha and the rashi interaction with each other, and then also how grahas interact with each other, how their planets are interacting with each other. Okay, so we can see this. I mean, just to give another analogy, like um, let's say let's take any simple example of um, us. Okay, we are in our house. We are doing some karma with our children, with our parent, with our wife, with servants inside our house, with each of them. Okay, uh, and then you go and you say you drive your vehicle. There's a karma you're doing with the vehicle. Okay, so the house is, let's say, one of the rashis, the vehicle is another rashi. Then let's say you're going to the gym, or say some club where you're playing tennis and whatnot. So there, and there will be other people with whom you are playing tennis, or whatever, or cricket. And so that is another rashi, and there are other set of people. The people are the grahas. Okay, and the rashi is the place where it is happening. If there was no tennis court, you will not be, and there were no rackets or balls, you will not be able to play tennis. If there's no one else to play tennis with you, again, I mean, you may still lob the ball somewhere on the wall yourself, but that there's a difference. So, and then you go to the office, and then you have office is another Rashi and you are doing some work over there, and there are other set of people you're interacting with. So on and so forth. There is this Rashi, and then there's all these Grahas interacting. Like Graha is people and Rashi is a place. That's what I would like to put over here, and that is showing the karma. Okay, and that is also how the karma is happening. Beyond that, there are other larger yogas. So there are two planets which can have a yoga. There are big yogas like you have the Graha Malika yoga or Kala Sarpa yoga, or you have like several. I mean, there are a whole set of yogas which Maharishi Parashara has given, like Vivida yoga. Um, you have this Navasa yoga and so on and so forth, which are all showing things at much larger scale, impacting at much larger level and so on. And then in Jyotish, we also in Jyotish you have this. You don't really have this in Western astrology. At least I don't think to as much extent as we have. We have something called Varga. Varga means again section. It was exactly what I was talking about earlier. In reality, not as an analogy. Like I'm in my home, so my interaction with my children, that is my Saptamsha. My interaction with my wife, that is my Navamsha. I go to, let's say I'm studying. If I'm studying, I'm going to college or school. That is my Siddhamsha. If I'm going to work, that is my Dashamsha, and so on. If I'm doing my my spiritual um, observances, but my sadhanas, etc., that is my Vimshamsha. Each of this have my interaction with my parents is my Dvadashamsha. So these are called Vargas. These are like rooms or categories or sections right there. So this is how karmas is getting. I try to give a very large overview of things, of how. So this grahas are showing what is going to happen to you. Okay, and it's not. I don't think it's due to gravitational force. Okay, how physics interacts and all that. I have my own views about it, and I'll definitely like to share. But this is a bit of an overview of how Jyotish works. One final point, I already said a final point, but one more final point on the pariharas, on the remedies. So the remedies, how they work is that, you see, our life. So one is, all there is this static picture. When you're born, you have all this you have your horoscope with all these grahas and yogas, and then you have your vargas and everything. This is the map or the prarabdha with which you are born with. Then over a period of your life, things happen, right? There is something called dasha. The word dasha means um, condition or situation, literally, right? So what is your attitude, okay, your outlook, or what is happening to you? This is all what dasha is, and this keeps on changing depending on the various timelines. There are different types of dashas, and in each dasha different planets are governing different number of periods. Okay, so starting off, you may, let's say, have a Mars period, then you will have Rahu, then Jupiter, and so on. Different periods may come one after another. So how remedies work is, the karma which you have to experience over a long period of time, okay, it is made fast. It's like time moving very fast. We have to understand the time is at various scales. Okay, it's not like the way time is moving over here. There can be other, I mean, in physics also, you know very well that there are other places where time may move at a much different pace than what it is moving over here. In our tradition and all that, we have these various lokas where time moves at different time scales. So there's Satya Loka, where time moves at much faster pace. Even at Svarga Loka, they say that in Manusmriti it is given that one year of a man is equal to one day of the gods, Devas. So the Deva Varsha is much more faster than the Manushya Varsha. So and there's a beautiful story of the wife of Sri Balarama, that is Revati. Before their marriage, Revati and her father had gone to Satyaloka to meet Brahma, uh, and they waited for some while because Brahma was in meditation, just maybe a day or less than that or something like that. And then Brahma asked them to come in, and Brahma asked, okay, why have you come? So uh, Revati's father says, I want your opinion on who is the right um, husband for my daughter. I want to marry her well. So Brahma says, in the time you have spent here, yugas have passed. These guys had gone in Satyuga. Uh, so Brahma says, yugas have passed, and now it is Dwapar Yuga, and Sri Krishna is now born and has taken avatar over there, and he has his elder brother Balrama. Okay, all the people, your entire clan is destroyed. There's no one of them now anymore. Okay, so the entire land is different. Okay, uh, and then they come down because Brahma said Balrama should be Devati's husband, and they find that they are very tall, and all the people over there are much shorter. Okay, like a miniature replica of themselves. So then they meet um, Sri Krishna and Balrama, and since she's so tall, Balrama uses his plow and brings her down to their side. So that's the story of the different time scales. So basically, how remedies work is that you go to a very different time scale where time moves very fast, and all that you got had to experience over there. So imagine if Revati and her father were down over here, they would have experienced the same things, all their enemies attacking their country, all their people getting destroyed and all that. But they are gone to Satyaloka, and they didn't experience any of that. It's a very nice example of this, and but something similar is my understanding of how remedies work, as told by my gurus. Obviously, I'm just a learner myself, like all of you, and I'm just sharing my opinion. But I hope this was informative, and you got some sense of how Jyotish really works. In one word, it's karma. Thank you so much.